This is GrantTalk, hosted by Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants.
Hello, everybody. I'm Libby Hikind, founder and CEO of GrantWatch and author of The Queen of Grants, From Teacher to Grant Writer to CEO. And today I am your host on GrantTalk. I'm very pleased that you've taken time out of your day to spend it with me. And right now, sitting with me is Tim Tramble, and he is the president and CEO of the St. Luke's Foundation of Cleveland. And they do some wonderful things helping with health disparities. And I want to hear from him. And what does his organization do? Hi, Tim.
Hello, Libby. How are you?
Very well. We're glad to have you here. Can you tell us
Glad to
about
be here.
your
Thank you
organization?
for inviting me to speak with you.
Welcome. Tell us about your organization. What's their focus?
So our organization is a health conversion foundation. We have been in existence since 1997, and we were established with the $200 million endowment. Basically, the aspect of the healthcare center was dissolved and consolidated into a endowment that we set the foundation up.
So what everybody wants to hear is there are so many foundations and organizations that give out grants, but they want to hear what happens to their organization when it leaves their hands, when they hit submit. What do you do with it?
So first of all, we vet our funding considerations before we even invite organizations to apply. We don't want to waste their time, and quite frankly, we don't want to waste our time as well. We understand most of us are individuals who actually been on the other side. We know that time put into the application takes away from the time that you're actually serving the community. So we want to respect those who are interested in applying to our foundation with being as efficient as we can with their time and as respectful and accommodating as we can with their time. So we have conversations first, and through those conversations, if we invite you to apply, I would say in the last 5 years, there's not been a grant that we have denied once you apply.
Let's start out, Tim, with the conversation. How do they know to start the conversation with you? What happens?
Well, we try to be very transparent with what our strategy is. We're very clear on the funding areas that we would fund. Although I would say that it's understandable that when you say you support and fund the social determinants of health and you outline 6 funding categories, that those categories can be interpreted by different people. It's like the Bible, right? Different people read different things based on how they see their work. And so that's why we want to first start with a conversation to make sure that you understand that the areas of our funding, what they mean to us. We have our strategy on the website. We try to be very open and we try to be consistent so that you see our funding decision logic on the website. You see the areas that we fund. You see the past grants that we have awarded. You see our what we call strategy partners. We don't refer to those that receive funding at grantees. You see that as a subordinate firm, or we see the organizations that we partner with as partners, and they are partners in the implementation of our strategy. So we call them strategy partners. And with all of that information, I think it informs individuals as to whether they are ideal and aligned with our strategy. So all of Cuyahoga County, first of all, let me play that. Cuyahoga County is the county that Cleveland, Ohio resides in, is situated in. And there are 3 communities that we call the St. Luke's footprint. And they are neighborhoods within the city of Cleveland. So we try to be very intentional with the way that we frame our mission, right? Well, we address the social determinants of health for individuals and families within the St. Luke's footprint and throughout Cuyahoga County. The purposeful, I should say, our board that created these strategies purposely put the three neighborhoods first because we want to know that your organization does have some um, some work that it's doing in those neighborhoods, and that you are intentionally focused on those neighborhoods. You can serve the entire county, but we want to know that there is a focus on those three neighborhoods as well.
So, okay, you
Yeah.
vet them. Do you vet them in person or through paperwork submissions?
So it's all digital. Everything is digital. There's a
Hmm.
digital application we give individuals. It used to be where when I first came making, we just did applications in the system, and to me that was like a weird thing. And so we give people access to. We give those that we have had communication with, and again those who we have invited to apply. We give them an access code because again, you submit an application um, randomly and we read it. We don't want to feel guilty that you spent all of that time on that application. We want to make decisions for the right reason, and we want to be respectful of your time.
And I think that's very fair. So they first digitally they apply to apply basically. And then you review
Yeah.
it and then you tell them to submit and you give them an access code.
So I'll outline the process really quickly. The first thing is you can go on our website, or you can call us, or you can email us. Any way that you contact us, we will respond to you, whether it's a phone call, whether it's email, whether you follow us on the website, on the internet, or you just know St. Luke's Foundation does applications on the internet. You can go to the portal. If you don't have an access code, you can submit an inquiry, an outline of what you're thinking about doing. You call us, you can submit an inquiry, and our staff will write out your inquiry for the program team. We collectively, as a program team, come together weekly and we review all of the inquiries. And from those inquiries, we make the decision as to who we want to invite to apply and who we might want to further vet, and or who we don't see as a fit. For those that we don't see as a fit, we inform them, and we inform them once. For those that we feel like we need to vet more, we reach out to them and say, hey, we need more information. We need to better understand what you're doing or your organization. And for those who we make a decision to fund, then we send them a email along with a access code to access the grant application.
Okay. So I see that the place where they're going to fall off is in this vetting process because once you vetted them, they're most likely to get funded. So let's talk about who's applying and when you're vetting them, what's wrong with them? Why are they falling off? Let's help people understand when they're writing a grant, when they're applying for grant, what are they doing wrong?
So that's generally where everyone goes, right? What are you doing wrong? The reality is that there's so much great work out here, and we fund $8 million a year. We can't possibly fund all of the great work. We probably get around $100 million of requests, and we only have $8 million to fund. So the first thing I would clarify is that it's not anything that you're probably doing wrong. In fact, I think that we get great to the applicants that we fund. We understand that there are challenges. Again, we've been on the other side. We're not expecting people to be perfect. We fund a lot of organizations that are not perfect, that are not administratively strong. We look at how are you influencing or impacting community, and you can be very administratively weak and still get a grant from us. You can be very administratively strong, but if we see that you don't have proximity to the problem and you're not connecting with the people, right, then we don't see you as a fit. We believe that true equity is in funding people to build community from the inside out. You should have relevance, and you should have individuals of the community that see you as valuable to them, and that call you out as an organization we should be funding. So with that, we are a foundation that actually have a community engagement platform available to the community to communicate directly to us about what they want to see us fund, who they want to see us fund, and what types of issues that they think should be of the most interest to the foundation.
That's the organization that you should want to fund, is somebody that when you're giving those dollars that they're going to be used as according to the budget, and that there's checks
Well,
and balances within the organization.
I would say that philanthropy has given millions of dollars that haven't had impact. So when you're funding BIPOC organizations, putting those types of restrictions because you're trying to make sure that they use it the appropriate way. Well, there's been millions of dollars that have not been used to their greatest benefit to the community. So again, we practice trust-based philanthropy and equitable philanthropy. And we try not to be paternalistic. We believe that if you give people the resources and we give them the opportunity to make the mistakes that other long-standing organizations that receive millions and millions of dollars have been able to make.
Well, grassroots activities have the best impact on a community, and you're serving a community that's defined by boundaries. So you're within the community. That's great. What projects do you see coming to you that you vet and then you say, nope, we're not funding this?
Again, I want to make sure that there's not an assumption that there's something wrong with a
Right.
organization that we
Well,
don't
okay. So
fund.
let's go. Let's
Yeah, we
not
try
talk
to.
about.
Yeah,
We have budget. You have a budget. You can
yeah.
only do your 8 million. You get 100 million applications. How do you decide which of those applications you fund?
We fund the organizations that we believe are more positioned to be valued by the community, to be accepted by the community, and sometimes we fund organizations not knowing, like we take risks, not knowing whether they're going to actually be successful doing what they are doing, but that they are the type of entities that generally haven't gotten a shot to implement programming, have high favor by the community. The community believes and trusts in them, and so we'll support them. And generally, I will tell you that we get great outcomes from that, right? And even those organizations administratively that are not as sophisticated, when it comes to real impact, that if you poll community, what you get back from community, you get more appreciation from the community in regards to the programming that those organizations are providing. So we look at your relevance to community. We look at your position in community. We look at your work and how community regards your work. We look at, like any other typical foundation, like the realistic, um, the realistic ability for you to actually accomplish what it is that you're outlining, that you're doing, that we could see a path to success. Sometimes there are plans that are lofty, and it's hard for us to see that the, the goal will actually be reached. But there, again, sometimes you take chances on those just because it's like, I'm thinking of something that I really don't want to go off on a tangent on, but I was just a part of the panel, and the topic of the panel was the intersection of power and wealth. And the way that I see it, because others they immediately talk about individuals and individual power and family power and old power and influence. And the way that I see power and wealth is that people who are wealthy have the power to make mistakes. They have the liberty to implement their own ideas. Those are the things that allow innovation to happen. There are, and I gave an example of a company, 23andMe, who has been unprofitable since they've been in their business, and they were established in 2006. There are no community organizations that could be that can fail at what they do for that long and still be in existence. But yet, the 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 creators of the company are revered because people know that the work that they're doing is leading to something extraordinary, right? In the way of innovation. And so that's kind of how we look at work and community. We need to give people the opportunity to make mistakes. We need to give people the opportunity to work their way through and to the ladder of success. When you are in situations of limited resources and people don't invest in you to the extent that other more endowed people have the opportunity, you have one shot or maybe two shots, and then you're done. Where others have many shots, right? And so that's why you have more people tend to be successful because they have the opportunity to fail, and others don't because they don't have the opportunity to fail. They got one shot. But maybe what they're working on, and we believe that equity, really the people that are really in the community, of the community, doing the work, proximate to the work, understanding the ecosystem of the work, they haven't had the opportunity, right, to explore their ideas and experiment with their ideas. So that's that's another that's an analogy to explain how we see
Okay,
equity.
let me ask you a question. Who is
hmm
eligible for your grants? Do they have to be a 501c3?
That's a good question. So we have three ways in which you could be funded by the St. Louis Foundation. One way you could be funded by the St. Louis Foundation is a community grant. And a community grant is up to $6,000. And the community grants are led by the Community Advancement Committee, which is a group of residents of the St. Louis footprint who has full decision-making authority over the grant. And you don't have to be a 501c3. You can be two parents that came together and say, we need this program for our neighborhood. You can be a block club. You can be any group of people within the community. You can apply and receive that grant. Then we have staff discretionary grants. Staff discretionary grants are up to $25,000. And it the staff with our awareness of the ecosystem making the decision based on our strategy. Then we have the board grants, and the board grants is anything above $25,000. They tend to be no less than $40,000. Average board grant is about $80,000, and those are grant awards. Um, Goes through a board process. It's longer because it's a board process and more money. the community grant, you can get funded a community grant within a matter of weeks, and you can be funded a discretionary grant within a matter of weeks.
Very well. Okay, so you have lots of opportunities, and you have individuals who have ideas. They're in the boots on the ground people. They have ideas, and they can get funded through your organization. They're vetted first, and if the funding's available, in all probability, if it's a good idea, and the community knows these people, somehow they will get approved. What do you think is the future of your organization?
Mm. Yeah, so I will tell you what I'm personally grappling with right now. And I will tell you that the future is what I'm hoping is that we get to a place where we are providing true. I want to be careful with how I say this because sometimes we can see ourselves as a higher power in the way that we describe what we want to see in the community. So I try to be very careful with my words and how I describe it. We would like to see our resources leveraged to have scaled impact in the community where individuals in the community feel the value of the investment, right? That's what we hope to see for the future. The thing that I'm personally grappling with, interested in, that I think aligns with our strategy is how do we build wealth in the community through our giving? How do we, so much of philosophy over the years has been people at the top of the hill coming down in the valley to serve the people in the valley. And watch the flow of the money that way, right? The flow of the money is going up the hill. That's the flow of the money. The service is to the community, but the flow of the money is taking care of the people who are up at the top of the hill. Well, what I hope that our way of funding and our approach to philanthropy does is direct the resources in the direction of the community in a way that builds wealth within the community. And I think that the people within the community have those answers. And I think that we should invest in their ideas and their thinking about their situations. I think that that's what has happened in the boardrooms, the foundations for far too long, is that people think in the board meetings that they have the answers and they know exactly what to do. And we are here for decades investing in the ideas and the thoughts of board members that have delivered actually regressive uh, impact and results. So it's time now to invest in the people to come up with ideas for what they need for themselves.
And I guess you'll have meetings, and you probably do, and hear what the people in your community are saying that they need. Do they need to do they want to open businesses within the community?
Absolutely, but I wouldn't assume that we need to train them or they need training. Maybe if you give them the right tools and resources, they'll be fine, right? But we give it to them based on how they feel they need, right? Not how we feel they need.
Well, of course. I mean, if you have a group of people that say they'd like to go into business, but they need training in QuickBooks. I'm just doing this hypothetical. They need training in, I don't know, opening bank accounts, creating boards, um, how to manage the funds, how to decide
Yeah.
whether a product is going to give them profit or it's just going to eat up every dollar that they have. Maybe they need seed money to start a business, and they need to pitch their idea to your organization. They have an idea for a business, but they need that seed money. Whatever it is they're saying, I would take all those ideas and put them into, some kind of outline form and go through them, see which ones you want to handle, what you think is really going to grow your wealth. I'm not there. I can only tell you from my years of grant writing and being involved with nonprofits, what has happened and why communities have grown wealth, and they've grown it grassroots wise.
Well, the communities have gone well. They grow up because they have proximity to social capital that leads to economic. So, I mean, that's why the way that we've done philanthropy hasn't worked, because we have to create and figure out a model where if you don't have that social capital, how can you build it? How can you get access to the resources that you need in order to, again, experiment, um, implement your own ideas, see failure, get up and try again. That's how communities in America has been built. If people have had the opportunity to experiment, fail, um, you know, regroup, try again. Where people in our community, we don't have that. We probably will never get the opportunity, and if we do get an opportunity, it, it's one shot and you're done. And if you fail, then you're looked at as a failure, and it takes years to build your credibility back up to get another opportunity.
Organizations like yours can provide that opportunity. You have the funds, and I guess there are a few other organizations like yours in your community. If you meet together and decide how you're going to go about this, you might be successful.
Yeah, yeah. I am optimistic about the future of philanthropy. I'm right now at the Grant Makers for Effective Organizations conference. That's where I am. That's why this hotel is behind me, because I'm here and we're talking about equitable grant making. And we're talking about, flipping philanthropy upside down and not doing this traditional thing that has been done for decades and has not led to the conditions of individuals in communities being any better. Right? We've had hundreds of millions, billions of dollars poured into helping people. Now we're thinking about how do we pour those dollars into people helping themselves and investing in their collective.
That's what I said before. I mean, I'm not there. I'm not in your community. I can only look from, objectively what I've seen before. And education, career education, workforce education, training these skills, and entrepreneurial education, that's what builds wealth. Now, which topics, which areas you want to work in, that has to do with your community. What kind of businesses they want to open, what kind of amount of seed money they need, and for your board to evaluate, is their idea viable? And that's where I think you should be, if you can, if that's where you want to go. So I think this conversation has been really interesting. I hope you take my ideas back to your meeting and look at it that way. Years ago, I taught business careers and computers and entrepreneurship in the junior high school in Canarsie, Brooklyn, New York. And that was the feeling then, that if we took junior high and high school students and we taught them some skills, some workforce skills, they would be able to be successful. And we actually created projects and they sold them, and they learned how to use a spreadsheet. This goes way back, and how to keep records, business records. And these are things that people need to know.
Well, I'm going to give you another perspective. There are people that you talk to in the community that will tell you they got enough certificates and enough credentials to fill the walls in a room, right? So education isn't lacking in a lot of households, right? This question of what opportunity looks like is something that really has to be examined. There are a lot of people that I know with degrees that comparatively they're struggling, they're not doing well. they've gone through that process. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but I'm saying that that is not all the end all, right? Social capital that leads to economic capital. Who you know and who will invest in you to the time that's needed for you to uh, be able to stand and to be able to thrive through your own resources.
We're talking about seed money and networking. Seed money for the idea and networking to make those social connections.
We're talking about a host of things. We're talking about investment. We're talking about um, capital that collective capital that could be invested, that giving people shares in stock that is a result of a entity that has been developed for community ownership, right? That things that are developed within the community are not developed by outside developers, but by people of the community that can benefit from the growth of that wealth, right? We're and I hate to throw out things like that, but I'm throwing them out just to give you an example of non-traditional things. I'm hearing traditional things, the traditional things that has led us to be where we are. Like we need those non-traditional, out of the box ways of investing in people that will break that cycle of of, of disinvestment and inability to access capital and growth of wealth.
Well, you're at the convention, so I think you're going to be able to solve some of the issues if you all join together. You have grants available, so people can actually write to you and let you know what ideas they have that would be in, if they had funding, how it would invest back into the community. So I just want to ask you, how has GrantWatch helped you? Because we've had your grants on our website.
We actually get individuals. We've gotten individuals apply, individuals, or I should say organizations apply that are outside of Cleveland, right? So GrantWatch is definitely a resource that get your foundation in front of masses of entities. It whether those masses are ideal for your strategy. So it's good that people are aware of St. Luke's Foundation, and it's good that you guys have a platform where people can research and people can access funders all over the country. Some funders are geographically based, and so I do think that it would be of value if people have a better understanding of the geographic focus, particularly for us as a foundation.
We show the geographic focus. We need people to pay attention, and
Yeah.
we tell them to pay attention to that as well. I want to thank you for your time today, and I'm hoping that you will maybe redo some of your grant applications so you get the people that want to be grassroots investment in your community. And GrantWatch lists a lot of grants that your organization can actually apply for to bring more dollars into the community.
Well, we are a private foundation, so we can't apply for grants. We don't apply for grants.
Well, we found about 15,000 private foundations that have given grants to other private foundations. I did that research last month, so I know that does happen. But another way that you could do it is you could fund the grant writer for other nonprofits so that they can do the applications to bring more funds into your community. So that's another way to use GrantWatch. And you can give out my book. So that will help people learn how to write grants as well.
We will definitely take a look at that.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck in your conference. I hope that you come out with some great resources and let us know if you're going to have a new grant out there.
Libby, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you too. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to Grant Talk, powered by GrantWatch. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this GrantWatch channel. Please consider subscribing to GrantWatch.com, and you can find the book, The Queen of Grants, by going to GrantWatch.com/book. Thank you again for spending your time with us.